They are still looking for them. This is the case of the Sodder children who vanished without a trace. On December 1945, a fire broke out in the family home of John and Jenny Sodder in Fayetteville, West Virginia. That night was Christmas Eve. The family had gathered together for their annual Christmas party, which this year was attended by 11 people, 10 of whom were the Sodder children. The house was full of joy. The kids were running around playing games. They sang carols and exchanged gifts. Then everything changed. At about 7:30 p.m., a sudden wind caused the furnace in the basement to go out. Realizing that the house could plunge into darkness at any moment, John went down to the basement to get things going again. Meanwhile, Jenny told the older kids to help the younger ones put on their coats so they could go out and enjoy the mild winter evening. The fire started in the living room, where the youngest of the Sodder children, 2-year-old Rosie, was playing. The oldest son, 14-year-old Louis, noticed the fire first. He shouted to his brothers and sisters to get away from the burning Christmas tree. The children ran to the front door, but when they opened it, they found themselves trapped. The hallway leading outside was engulfed in flames. At this point, Louis tried the back door. It was also locked, as was the door to the bathroom. Then he remembered the cellar stairs. Although the flames were spreading rapidly, the children managed to escape through the basement. Only Louis didn't make it. His foot got caught in a rug, and when he finally got loose, the stairs were too hot to use, so he jumped into the yard just as the roof above him collapsed. John came out of the basement just in time to see his eldest son standing outside with the other children. But the happiness of being alive was short-lived. When they turned around to look at the house, they saw that the entire structure was on fire. People from neighboring houses came running to help. Some even tried to enter the burning building to save the Sodders, but the flames were too strong. The house was soon completely engulfed. While the firefighters were able to put the fire out, they found no trace of Jenny or any of her children. The only thing they found was a charred piece of flesh that looked like it might have come from a child. However, it was impossible to say for sure. An investigation showed that the fire had been caused by an electrical short circuit. The Sodder family had no insurance and little money. John began selling fruit and vegetables from his truck to pay for the funeral expenses. 2 days after the fire, they held a joint funeral for his wife and 5 missing children. But despite the massive search efforts, the bodies of Jenny and her children were never recovered. There was no trace of them anywhere. For the most part, the townspeople believed that they had all died in the fire, but some said that the disaster was no accident. And over the years, some very strange clues surfaced. In April of 1947, 2 years after the fire, a woman in Fairmont received a letter in the mail. The letter contained a photograph of a boy who looked a lot like one of the Sodder boys, as well as a newspaper clipping about the fire. The woman recognized the boy immediately. It was 4-year-old Billy Sodder, one of the missing children. She had seen him at a grocery store not long ago. When the police tracked down the woman, she told them she had never met the boy before, and she certainly didn't mail the picture. John Sodder was immediately suspicious. Why would someone send him a picture of his dead son? Did this mean that Billy was actually still alive? If so, why wasn't he with his supposed kidnapper? And there was more. In 1968, another photograph appeared. This time it showed Billy with a group of men. Again, the picture seemed to show the missing child. Who was he with? Were these the men who had kidnapped him? But then there were the stories. Over the years, several people came forward to claim that they had seen the missing Sodder children. In 1969, a woman who worked as a nurse claimed that she had examined one of the missing Sodder children after he had gotten injured while trying to break into a car. According to her, the kid was wearing the same clothes that he had been wearing on the night of the fire. Another witness came forward in 1971. He claimed to have seen one of the Sodder children working at a gas station in North Carolina. 3 years later, a waitress said that 2 of the Sodder children were regular customers at the diner where she worked. All these stories seemed to suggest that the children were not dead. Someone had taken them from their home that night. But if so, who would do such a thing and why? Well, many suspected that it was the work of Victor F. Philando, who had been convicted of raping a woman in the area on the same night the Sodder children went missing. However, this theory was disproven by an alibi. Philando was in jail at the time of the fire. He had been arrested after raping 2 women a few days earlier and was transferred to a different prison on the day of the fire. He remained behind bars for the rest of his life. Another suspect was George L. Kelly, who had been sentenced to 60 years for raping a woman a few months before the fire. Like Philando, though, he was in jail at the time of the incident. Still, some people believe that he was responsible for the crime. But what if neither of these men was responsible? What if there was someone else behind the crime? Well, that's what author and journalist David Fennell believes. He thinks that the whole thing was a government conspiracy. Specifically, he believes that the CIA was behind the disappearance. His theory is based on the fact that the head of the family, John Sodder, was an outspoken critic of the federal government. According to Fennell, John had discovered a list of names in the local telephone directory that matched the names of people working for the CIA. He said that he was going to expose them, but the night of the fire, he was seen arguing with a man in a suit, and that man was never identified. Fennell believes that the man in the picture with Billy isn't just an ordinary person. It's the former chief of the CIA, J. Edgar Hoover. As for why the agency would want to silence John, Fennell says it had to do with the senator he was related to. You see, John's brother-in-law was Robert Byrd, a U.S. senator whose political career spanned nearly 51 years. Senator Byrd was a staunch opponent of the CIA. He once said that the agency should be abolished, and he regularly leaked classified information to the press. If the CIA wanted to stop the leaks, they needed to take out the senator's family. This is why, according to Fennell, the agency set fire to the Sodder family home and kidnapped 5 of the Sodder children. They either killed the other 5 or burned their bodies beyond recognition. But why did they spare Billy? Well, Fennell believes that they needed him as bait to lure out the senator. Maybe they thought that if they kidnapped one of the children, the senator would start asking questions, and that would lead to him being exposed. However, this theory has its own problems. First of all, we don't know why the CIA would need to kill the senator. Sure, he leaked government secrets to the media, but is that a capital offense? Second, why did they let Billy grow up? Wouldn't it have been better to raise him in secret rather than letting him go live with a foster family? Finally, what happened to the boy in the pictures? If he really was Billy, why didn't he ever try to get in touch with his family? Ultimately, none of the theories surrounding the Sodder disappearance can be proven, and after almost 80 years, the mystery remains unsolved. We may never know what really happened to those poor children. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. All the links are in the description below. Subscribe to our channel, Ghost Files.